Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I'm singing and praying with my mind stayed on freedom. I'm singing and praying with my mind stayed on freedom. I'm singing and praying with my mind stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Lauren Steele. We're so happy to have you with us, Jim. Yes, welcome. How about that? I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. If we haven't gotten to that place yet, I'd invite you to open your heart, your mind, the very essence of who you are as we gather this morning. We welcome you. You know, we're here to recognize this one presence and this one power that moves in and through and as each of us. You know, Rumi said, the cure for the pain is in the pain. So if we're looking for freedom, leaning in to that which is within us is where we're moving. And as we're holding this space this morning, and we welcome those of you who are with us online, I believe that we all create a circle of energy along with those of you who are here in this space. We are creating that energy field. We're a part of something larger than who we are. And right now we hold our country. We hold all of those in Louisiana. Right now, there's this hurricane that is hitting a place. One of the Unity ministers was just simply saying, hold us in prayer as we move through this. Life is asking us to, whether it's Afghanistan or it's in Africa and some of the places where what they're moving through in India. We recognize that all of us are a part of this tapestry of humanity. And so as we gather in this circle, we draw and open to the infinite energy, love, life, presence of the universe. It literally moves through us. We are the channels. And so I just invite you, if by any chance you've been in a place of worry or wondering, who am I to touch this world out here? How do I make a difference? To open your heart right now to the realization we are the difference. The consciousness that moves through us touches humanity. Let's begin this service in prayer. Infinite Spirit, we open. We open to the realization that the vibration of Spirit moves in and through and as us now. It's present, it's available. And as we allow that movement through, we know that we are co-creators. We move and shape and allow something larger to move through us. We say yes to the ability and the possibility within every situation. For those that are hurting, that are afraid, that wonder, where do I go from here? We simply surround and hold a place of love, of light, of healing. and we hold a willingness to stand for all of humanity. We gather in this knowing, we say yes in this movement, and we simply say, here we are, Spirit. Move through us, guide us, show us our next step, and we say yes. And so it is. Amen. So we welcome you this morning all around the globe. I want to share with you some of what's happening. We welcome newcomers, first of all, whether you're watching online for the first time or you're here in this space, we welcome you. At Unity of Portland, we recognize that every one of us is a creation of God, of spirit, of love, and we are on this sacred journey, and we honor every person where they are on that path, wherever that path is. So we welcome you. We invite you, if you're here, to pick up a welcome packet, fill out the green card. There's a basket out in the entryway. We'd love to have you put it in there, or you can bring it up here if you want. If you're online, we have, and if you don't get it here today, or any of you, if you haven't filled out one of the green cards, you can go on our website, unityofportland.org, and fill that out there. They've got one there. Next week, we go to 11 o'clock. So the service time changes. And yes, we've had a lot of clapping over the extra hour of sleep. Evidently, through this pandemic, we want more sleep. So that's good. Anyway, we thank you for wearing masks. We're following the state guidelines there. Our community outreach project ends today officially. We've taken over 3 different loads of all kinds of things for mostly the community transitional school for the youth experiencing houselessness. One thing you can do today is there is an offering box out there. You can either donate online, or you can put a cash or check in that box, and they will buy supplies for you. And it's mostly, of course, it's been school supplies and food and socks. So we are grateful for all of you for that. You'll hear more about it later. Our World Day of Prayer is it's Thursday, September 9th. It's a labyrinth walk. And it'll be out in our parking lot, over in the east parking lot. You may have noticed the chains weren't off today. We will get that one solved. You'll be able to get into it. But please join us at 7 p.m. if you'd like to outside. It's just a wonderful opportunity to pray. If you would like to see Unity Worldwide Ministries World Day of Prayer, it'll be on Wednesday, September 8th to open it. And it's a wonderful event. It's a very diverse event. It's a great opportunity. They'll be live streaming it. You can go on unity.org and find that. We have 4 new Zoom classes starting in September. That's where we really go. We get busy and move into so many different places where we can go deeper in our spiritual practice. The flyer, for those of you who are in the room, is out in the entryway. It's on our e-newsletter, which has everything I'm saying is on there. So I just invite you to look. Those classes, it starts with Reverend Dick Everett's The Power of Now. It'll be 8 weeks, Tuesday nights, 7 to 8:30. That's Eckhart Tolle's work of really taking us into this now moment and how we heal our life. So that class begins September 14th. CAST this will be our second time. We've had so many people requesting it. Sharon Mitchell is starting that again on Tuesday, September 28th. It's a 9-week class, again, and that's Tuesday nights. Discovering Jesus' Teachings and the Metaphysics of Jesus will be a morning class with our licensed teacher, Alan Watson. 8 weeks, Thursday mornings, 10 to 12. So that information's out there and online. And the last one is Reverend E.J. Niles will be doing a 5-week class on seeing the Bible through the lens of spiral dynamics. And for those of you, she actually taught to ministerial students. And it was one that transformed my life, because most of us have been taught a very interesting story of what the Bible teaches. And so this is her 5 weeks. All of these are Zoom classes, and it's a great opportunity. So that one's offered also 7 to 8:30. It starts September 27th. So I am saying them once, and we'll look at them. We start spirit groups. Our next fall program will start the last week in September. We have groups that meet, and these are wonderful little book study connection groups. It's a great opportunity. Again, those signups will be out this week. We have 6 different groups. Last time, I think almost all of them filled up, so we invite you to be a part of that. And as we look at all these pieces and all these things, I think we know that the work that we're doing is inner work. It's about really moving through this interesting time that we're in. And you know that in the, the Zen tradition, may your life be interesting was both a blessing and a curse. We're in very interesting times. So we're gonna, what are we doing? We are going to sing. We're gonna stand and sing.
Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you.
And I just invite you to look around the room and recognize you walk with divine beings. Namaste. The divine in me greets the divine in you. Just simply to bless those around you. Thank you, thank you. And you can have a seat. I wanted to welcome Lauren Steele. You may not have met her yet. We're so happy to have her with us. I know one of the things I always hated was being introduced. Yes, welcome. We're so happy to have you. And Lauren has been, of course, with your mother, LaRonda Steele, which I have to say, I hated being introduced as somebody's daughter, but we are so Lauren has been, I know, that is exactly what most of my life was. In fact, some people probably don't know your name. They know you as LaRonda's daughter. Yep. But the first day we had scheduled her, I got this flyer. It says Queen's Girl in Africa, and guess who the star is? It's a play coming up, and it's Lauren Steele. And so while they'll do it a little later this year, she has such a career in just sharing her gifts all around, and I am just so grateful that you're here sharing your gifts now. And as we move into a time of meditation, kind of shifting in, we recognize that all of life, the invitation to evolve, always takes us inward. That's who we are. That's where we find that source, and that's where we move. And so as we spend just a short time in meditation, I would invite you to open to that movement that happens within our being and cellularly as we open to this presence.
For every hill, there is a valley. For every winter, the promise of spring. For your heart, there will be healing, though it's not easy remembering. For every tear, there's comfort, I promise. For every midnight, night, the deep breath of dawn. But in the darkness, no one can blame us for wondering how everything went so wrong. For wondering when the lights will come back on. What if the sky is always blue? Just beyond the clouds. What if there's nothing left to do but live this life out loud? 'Cause it's gonna hurt sometimes, no matter what we do. Never mind the doubt, just beyond our view. I believe the sky is always blue. Here we go again. The headlines are screaming fears and divisions, diminished returns. Even in these dark days, we keep on believing that the sun still brightly burns. Maybe that's what we are here to learn. What if the sky is always blue? Just beyond the clouds. What if the only thing to do is live this life out loud? 'Cause it's gonna hurt sometimes, no matter what we do. Never mind the doubt, just beyond our view. I believe the sky is always blue. 'Cause it's gonna hurt sometimes, no matter what we do. Never mind the doubt, just beyond our view. Never mind the doubt, I believe the sky is always blue.
And as we simply say yes, opening our hearts, our minds, the very essence of who we are, to a larger understanding of a world awakening, a world desiring to understand itself. As we let go of the need to control or have things a certain way, and we turn within to trust the journey. There's one presence and one power guiding us every step. And we let go and rest in the silence, in the knowing that within every moment is God in the silence. a willingness to know a deeper calling. They say, Spirit, show me what I am to know and to understand. Remind me of the sacred steps I am to walk and the love that I am. As we say, thank you, infinite Spirit, for this deeper understanding of our path, of all that we are to expand and to know. We know that we are blessed, and so it is. Amen.
You're not going crazy. You are making sense of senseless time. You're not being lazy. You are wrestling your own restless mind. So give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Ooh. And your body's changing. Things are rearranging in your skin. Call for celebrating. Each and every lovely shape you're in. You're not all alone now. Someone's thought about you twice today. Look how much you've grown now. Finding comfort in your own space. So give yourself grace. Ooh, give. Ooh, you could learn piano, or you could watch The Office Season 2, Episode 3 for the 25th time. Either way is alright. Just give yourself grace. Ooh, yourself grace. Oh, ooh.
Oh, thank you, Lauren. Wow. I appreciate the consciousness you share with us. Also, give yourself grace. How do we do with that this week? I think it's one of our big, we got some of those. This is life right now. We're not only learning to individually take this journey we're on, we have a collective journey. And we have a global journey. And what a combination it is for us. As we walk this path and we say, how do I move through today, this minute, this hour? I don't know about you all, but this week was, man, holding some of the things happening in Afghanistan, holding in my heart some of the women and children and lives. And then we say, who am I within this? And how do I just get through what's in front of me on my journey? And where do I go with another journey? And this is the sacred part, this path right now. I believe that each of us, as we're invited into this movement of spirit, into this design, and I know that the grand design for every one of us is evolution. We know it, we feel it, Spirit calls us for something more, and we get to find out, how do I travel this journey? I put the title, quote, title of this message, I Could Choose Peace. And of course, for those of you who are students of the Course in Miracles, one of the long-held statements is, I could choose peace instead of this. And I don't know about you, for me, sometimes that works instantly. Wow, this really hurts. I could choose peace instead of this. How else can I hold it? Other times, it's like, you think you're going to find peace right this minute? We're gonna wrestle with it. We're gonna move with it. We get to hold in our hearts and our beings some of the experiences. You know, Parker Palmer talks about moving from suffering into joy, and he says we have to know how to handle and hold what's in front of us. And if it hurts, and it doesn't matter whether it hurts for someone else, we may not have the words to explain what's happening. I believe divine discontent in our hearts, or pain or suffering, is an invitation. It's just simply the universe saying one more time, here, let me help you evolve. And sometimes we just shut down and say, not here. This space I can control, and I'm not allowing it here. How does that work for you? I don't know about you, but it just gets more painful. I had someone tell me, they said, I finally realized that it's really, really hard to change, but it's just as hard to stay the same, because I have to hold everything and control everything, and so I got to choose my hard. It's really hard to practice the principles we know, but it's really hard not to practice them because we are in fear and worry and pain and hurt. And so we get to say, how do we do this? I want to read to you some from Parker Palmer, and this was written for this country, I think 2 years ago, and yet it's very valid today. He said, and by the way, he was the author and founder for the Center for Courage and Renewal, and he said, you can see great suffering in the United States right now. We suffer from a widespread loss of jobs, homes, savings, citizen confidence in our economic and political systems. We suffer from a fear of terrorism and the paranoia it produces, and he went on to fragmentation of community. He said, we suffer, ironically, from our indifference to those among us who suffer. This does get better. We suffer as well from a hopeless sense that our personal and collective destinies are no longer in our hands. And sometimes we feel like, how do I affect change? We're talking about climate change. We're talking about world wars that have lasted 20 years. How do I become a part of that? And he said, what shall we do with our suffering? Because the first step of moving beyond what's happening, the pain we have inside, and being a channel and being a part of that movement is to be able to handle what's present in our lives. How do we move from there? And he said, this is one of the most fateful questions human beings must wrestle with every day. We wrestle with, how do I hold this first? Can I hold it? Because I will tell you this, I have learned finally, if I push it away, it gets larger and comes back. It's not going away. Whatever's knocking on our heart space, whatever's saying, look at me, continues to say that, and it has a blessing for us. It will transform us if we allow that to happen. And so he said, sometimes suffering rises into anger. And he said that leads to violence. It leads to murder. It leads to war. At other times, it descends into despair that leads to quick or slow self-destruction. And he said, violence and depression is what we get when we do not know what to do with our suffering. But when the human heart is open and allowed to work its alchemy, suffering can generate vitality instead of violence or anger or depression. You have within you the very essence of that vitality. We live in a quantum field. That's what's around us. You might think this is all empty space from the beliefs I have. And again, in Unity, we believe we all got to choose what we want to believe. There's principles that I've learned that work for me, but I'm not here to tell you they work for you. But my belief is that we literally, this idea of God is a quantum field. It's energy. It's vibrant life. It's not a being up in the sky. Instead, we're looking at the very quantum, and it's love. All of the wisdom teachers on this planet have basically said it's the energy of love. And so when we allow that and allow ourselves to understand it, then we get to realize how in suffering, there is still the same presence and power. That quantum field hasn't left. And yet, I don't know about you, but so often when we're suffering, we can feel like there's no way out. There's nothing in here, or there's nothing in this problem or what's happening that has answers, or will bless me, or will change the world, or will allow us to go further. So the first thing is, and Parker Palmer works a lot with the heart. He said the transformation that can go on in a reflective heart, a heart that is willing to take that suffering in and work with it, is that it can be transformed into something creative and life-giving. In the Bible, we hear these words, all things work together for good. Now, in Unity, we look at the Bible as one of the wisdom texts. You can look at the spiritual meaning behind these many messages, and they will support you in moving forward. And this idea that all things work together for good. What would happen if we simply claimed that in our lives? Absolutely decided this is one of the principles I believe in. I believe that the quantum field within everything, everyone, has the ability, that, like he said, the alchemy to begin vibrating and moving. And from that, we are a part of that creation, and literally we can create. So how do we do that? What do we do it with? Richard Rohr, and I want to just talk a little bit from a Bible perspective. Buddha had this same understanding. Lao Tzu had this same understanding. These are universal principles. In Colossians 1:26-27, so this is Paul speaking. And he said, I became its servant according to God's commission that was given to me for you, to make the word of God fully known. So he believed that his message, or his job that he was given, was to literally share this message. And he went into these different towns and did that. He said, the mystery that has been hidden throughout the ages and generations, but has now been revealed to his saints. That's what I've been given to do. To them, God chose to make known how great are the riches of the glory of this mystery, which is Christ in you, the hope of glory. Now, all of the past has been this idea, not of a being whose last name is Christ, but the universal principle that was within every being. And so this message that's been taken in so many different ways was literally, there's a universal presence in every being. It shapes and its forms. And Richard Rohr goes on to say, the Christ mystery that Paul speaks of is the indwelling of the divine presence in everyone and everything. Then he goes back to just quote some of them. I mean, this idea of it has to be in a being and you have to go just through a being. Now, Jesus did amazing things along his journey. He was a great way shower. But we created that. And a lot of it's been in the last couple hundred years. If you look at in 1054, when the Western Church separated from the East in the Great Schism, we gradually lost this profound being of how God had been liberating and loving all that is in every being. And then, who is it? Gregory of Nyssa, and this is about 335, wrote, "For who, when taking a survey of the universe, is so simple as not to believe that there is deity in everything, penetrating it, embracing it, and seated in it?" That was the general view, and I could give you about 5 more, that literally something happened in the last couple hundred years, and we moved into a thought of it's in this one person. What would happen if we lived our lives knowing that that divine pattern, the alchemy of the universe is within me? So when I sit in my world and I say, what do I do with this piece of suffering? I start with simply knowing my heart is designed to hold it. My heart is designed to hold it. And what is in between suffering and joy is spirit. It's the realization of spirit in us, as us, through us, and allowing it to work its mystery and its mastery. Everything that's present in your life has the ability to move you forward into the creative presence that you are designed to be within your framework. One of the things I've been doing this week is watching the Paralympics. Now, in this country, we don't have near as many Paralympic athletes as we did Olympic athletes. And part of this has been our view of what, quote, disability is. And so part of my dedication and commitment was, if I was going to watch the Olympics, I was going to watch every bit of the Paralympics that I could. And it has been fascinating. Because one of the athletes, Brad Snyder, that I want to talk about his story, but what was so interesting, he said, when I was wounded in Afghanistan and lost my sight, he said, I lost so many of my friends because they could never see me again. They saw the disability, not my abilities. And he said, I lost so many things. And then I had to recreate myself. Anybody ever have that happen in your life? How many of us look in the mirror and we've been trained to see disabilities? They may not be visual ones, but it's something we're not, instead of all that we are. And he said, my message to the world and to myself and within this Paralympics, and he's one of the people who has helped transform them. They changed their name, they changed what their focus is, and it's all about showing the abilities. He said, that's what we're here to do. And I just think, how fascinating is that we allow what happens to us to transform us. Now that's a spectacular way. He had an explosive go off and it blinded him, and he in Afghanistan, and he was a swimmer before from the Naval Academy. He was actually the swim team captain. He went on and swam, and in the past 2 Paralympics he's won a total of 5 medals. And after he left Rio, he said, I've done that, now where do I go? And so he took up the triathlon. And it wasn't until about 8 weeks ago that he actually got into what he thought was a form. He was 8th in the world. He won the triathlon here. But what was fascinating is the journey to get there. And he said, I had to challenge myself. I had to learn my abilities. And he said, that's what we're all about. And I just kept looking at that going, wow, where am I allowing what's present in my life to transform me? Because that's what it does. That's who we are. And so I want to go on with Parker Palmer. Think of someone you know who has suffered the loss of the dearest person in their life. And they go into a time of grieving when they feel like life will never have meaning again. And then they emerge from that surprised by holding that suffering is the right way. They have become larger people, more compassionate people with a larger desire to reach out to their fellows in healing and affirming ways. So we know that suffering can be transformed into creativity rather than violence. That's possible on a community and national level as well. And I think that we need to devote ourselves to supporting the alchemy that happens when we open our hearts. That's where we are. That's who we are. And the ability to do that, I love Brad Snyder's story, When I looked at holding what happened in Afghanistan and what happens in different places in the world, I know what I start with is spirit. I can choose peace instead of that. And for me, I'm not trying to push the pain away. I want to sit with it. I want to be with it. And then I want to say, what underlies this? And it is a foundation. It is a quantum field. That is the truth. What moves through me? And do I have the faith to believe that who I am, and I always say it, is enough to allow that transformation to happen? I find that happens with prayer. Now, the way I learned prayer and what I do, and some of us, if we get too far away and we're out in the effects. How many of you have watched a lot of TV this week? One person, two people. Okay, we've had a few others. Yes, I thought it might be. We get so far out in the effects that we forget the power we have. Because if every one of us here, every one of us online, if we're all creations of spirit, that means the alchemy that happens in our minds is happening to create a larger story for humanity. But we think, I can't do anything about that. It hurts, I hate it, and usually we go to blame. Who's to blame? I'm working for me to get off of who's to blame and go back to what's spirit, what's my base, and then immersing myself in, wait a minute, I am that I am. There's a presence and a power within me. There's God in me. There's this light in me. There's the divine in me. What happens when I hold that? What happens when I remember who I am? I can tell you this, you'll go into a grocery store and act very differently. Anybody gone to the grocery store really tired lately? And you've had it, and then something happens, and it's like, wait a minute, that's not who I am. It can happen with our family. It can happen all around us. The desire that I believe our hearts have is to say, wow, that's pain. And the truth is, it's teaching me something. There's a message here for me. I'm not bad, I'm not wrong, I'm a part of the transformation. And will I allow that to happen? And whatever I've done up until this point, I've only just begun. I've only just begun. You know, one of the people that I regularly look at, and you've heard me talk about her before, her name is Teresa Kashin-Damoto, and she was, Damoto, she was from Malawi, and she is the one she was the 12th child of a chief, and so there was the chief blood in her. She was for 27 years a secretary in a college in Zamba, another district away from her home, and she had 4 kids, and that was her life, and they called her back and said, no, we're going to have you as chief. And she said, wait a minute, you got the wrong person here. This isn't what I do. I really don't want to do it. And she found out overnight that she was the chief. She still doesn't know why. And that she was over 900,000 people. Now, she has found a strength in her and allowed it to transform her. And I've used the story before that literally she has annulled 2,850 child marriages. She's gone back and gone village to village to village and taught them different ways of working with their girls and how they change it and what they do. I mean, it's been fascinating, and that's been quite a few years now. When I went back, because I like to go back and just check up on the stories, she said, I'm still doing that. I believe it's my mission, but I found this little other thing. And she has gone back and been training women in her area. And she has been the only female chief in Malawi, and at least in that whole region of Malawi, for years. Until she got the idea, well, if it's me, if they chose me, why can't they choose someone else? And there are now 55 leaders, women leaders, in the villages and the towns around her that have moved into leadership. So she is beginning, she said, I love what I do here, but Spirit has an idea over here. What I often wonder is if she had said no to this, Or no to the desire when she began saying, we're going to change this with child marriage. She was hated. She was ridiculed. Her life was threatened. If she had said no to that coming through her, and she said it took a couple years to really allow something to happen, would she have ever gone the next step? We're given a heart that opens to life. And you might think mine is messing or arguing with this little thing here or fighting with this, and this is just some little thing and it doesn't affect anybody. It affects us all because it's spirit, it's movement. And I would just invite you to open to the call of your heart, to know that the movement of spirit is within every situation, and that we are the perfect channels, that Christ, that divine, whatever you want to call it, the Buddha in you, the life in you is here to transform and to open our hearts to a higher picture, a higher understanding. Leah, we're going to show some of the pictures in just a moment. I wanted to show you some of the things that as we open and continue opening here at Unity of Portland to how we can touch the world. One of the things we've done is worked with Unity in Nigeria. And you heard me say that we sponsored through our tithes. We're a tithing ministry. When people tithe to us, we tithe. Some of those have gone to Nigeria. In this past year, where both the kids should get theirs in the next week or so, their scholarships, and we're still looking at numbers and things, but it's at least now, I think it's up to about 35 scholarships that will be given for 1 year to school. But we sponsored the women's convention. It's a week-long convention. And I just want you to see some of the pictures. It gives them food, it gives them places. They're still sleeping often on dirt floors, but I want you to see some of the joy of these beings that are there. And so these are the different regions, basically, of Nigeria and the women as they share and walk this journey. This happens in Uzuokole, Nigeria. And it's fascinating how they share their journey. And the woman in white is actually Reverend Ada. Some of you met her when she was here. And I know this is their regional, they have different things that go on. The women all receive a shirt that ties them to Unity and their journey. And there were about 240 women that came together to hear the message, there's the divine in you. And I think, how does that touch their lives? What we did not show is the widows and the single women were given food, and they take that home with them for the year. There was also a skills training that went on. But I just wanted you to see some of these pictures of these beautiful, beautiful beings who honor each other and their journey. And they still have some of the men there. It's darling. I've asked. It's so darling. And they come just simply to observe the energy and the life to be a part of that. And it's so beautiful. But I just wanted you to see, as we end this service, Spirit calls through us to know a higher form of ourselves, to touch the things in our lives, small and large, with the love of our hearts that touches our world. Thank you. Thank you. And we have two things we're going to do. One is we're going to do our love offering, and we're also going to hear just a moment from our Uniteens who went to their in-person retreat. They had an in-person retreat. You know, as we say yes to the movement of Spirit, through us, and we receive our tithes and our love offerings. If you're in the room, there's a basket out in the entryway, and we just invite you to put it in there. You can also send in a check. You can get on the mobile number, which is number 833-814-3477, and text the word Unity of Portland, all lowercase. And you can do that one time today, or you can do it on an ongoing basis. But we use a prayer that says, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I just want us to remember that's the alchemy of this quantum field. It's divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I receive, and all that I receive. And I'll learn it after 35 years. So, all right.
I don't care what's on TV about the state of the economy. I don't believe most of what I see. I know what I know to be. God is so good. God is so good. God is so good. God is so good. So good all the time. I'm walking by faith and not by sight, 'cause what seems wrong today, tomorrow might seem right. All is well, and it's all good and unfolding as it should. God is so good. 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 So good all the time. All the time. God is so good. 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 So good all the time. God is so good. So good all the time. God is so good, so good all the time.
Oh, Lauren, thank you, thank you. All right, and I believe our Uniteens are going to come in. We had a group of them that went, they did a ropes course and quite a few other things at their regional retreat. And everybody's grown so much. All right, we are so happy to have you with us. Oh, this is not gonna, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. All right. Hello, hello. Are you starting, Haley? Sure. Are you? They're gonna share a little bit of what's going on.
Oh my gosh. Hello. Sorry, I don't know how to use a mic. To me, when we started Uniteens, it was like a group of 10, Unitreat. It was a group of 10, and it was really small, and we were all like there were some new people, some last-timers, and we didn't really know each other. We were kind of quiet. But by the end of the week, we'd made some friendships that we knew were going to last till YOU and to the end of YOU. And I thought that was great. And to me, Unitreat really meant friendship and building trust and love towards each other and for yourself. And I had a really great time.
I'm Liliana. Hello.
I'm Sahel.
Hi. Well, this was my first time going to Unitreat, actually, and before I had just gone on the Zoom calls. I know a lot of people didn't because it's just not the same. But that's actually very true because my impression of Uniteens was from the Zoom calls, so I thought it was going to be like that. I was very, very wrong. It was a lot funner and amazing. Part of what I love about camps and Unitretreat is just that you can go there and you can make friendships and jokes. And if anyone that had not gone to the camp heard you talking to anybody from the camp, they would have no idea what you were saying. Absolutely no idea. And I just think it's amazing that you can make friendships with people in just a week and you're so bonded with them. It's amazing.
My name's Kylie. These are the shirts that we made. Apparently, I was the only one who wore them this week. But yeah, it was a great experience. It was probably one of the best experiences that I've had so far in my life. We got to know everyone really, really well. We have a lot of inside jokes, and it was just so fun. And yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. And thank you all. A lot of what it's based on is unconditional love and acceptance. And I know, just like they said, they made friends. This last week, my brother, for the 43rd year, was with his YOU friends in California. And he said, we're still YOUers, our bodies have just changed. So as we join together right now, we stand, I realize we're not holding hands, but we're holding consciousness, and we're going to sing Let There Be Peace on Earth and Let It Begin With Me. You can sing it along with us, just knowing that we're a part of this transformation.
Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me.
Oh, yes, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let's join together in our unity prayer. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And we are so blessed. If you would like prayer, there are chaplains up here to pray with you. Have a love-filled week.